When you scroll through a sea of UPS listings, it's easy to think you've found the perfect safeguard for your home office or small server rack, only to discover, once you plug it in, that the unit can't keep the critical devices alive long enough to actually do anything useful. I've heard that story too many times: a sleek metal case, a promising 120V sine wave claim, and then a frustratingly short runtime that leaves a workstation crashing just as you're trying to save a file. That's why today I'm diving into a real-world look at the Eaton Trip Lite Series 2200 VA Smart UPS, so you can avoid that disappointment and decide if it truly fits your needs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the kind of environment where a UPS like this actually makes sense. If you run a modest home office with a desktop, a couple of monitors, maybe a network-attached storage (NAS) box, or a small rack of servers that need to stay online for short outages, you're in the sweet spot for a 2200 VA 1950W unit. It's not a data center grade solution, but it does provide enough power to keep a typical workstation up for the 510 minutes you need to save your work and shut down gracefully. On the flip side, if you're looking to protect a high-end workstation with multiple GPUs, a large array of drives, or a 24-horon server, you'll quickly find the runtime insufficient. In those cases, you'd be better off looking at a higher VA rating or a unit with larger battery modules. One of the first things I noticed when unboxing the Eaton Smart UPS is the clean, rack-mountable design. It's a 2U chassis that can slide neatly into a standard server rack, but it also functions as a tower if you don't have rack space. The front panel features a bright LCD that actually tells you what's happening in plain language: battery charge level, input voltage, and estimated runtime based on current load. That isn't just a nice to have. In my testing, the display saved me from having to guess whether the unit was really on battery or just riding a shaky line from the utility. When the power slipped, the LCD instantly switched to on battery and gave a countdown that matched the audible alarm, giving me confidence to pull the plug on a critical transfer before the power died. The sine wave output claim is another practical point. Many cheaper UPSs use a simulated sine wave, which can cause issues with certain power supplies, especially older or highly sensitive equipment like some high-end audio interfaces or network gear. The Eaton's true sine wave output means you won't see those occasional power supply not recognized errors that can pop up with cheaper units. In a real-world scenario, I ran a NAS device that runs a RAID array, and I never saw the kind of error messages that often appear when the UPS output isn't smooth. That said, the sine wave does come at a slight cost. The unit's overall efficiency drops a few %, so you'll see a marginally shorter battery life compared to a simulated wave model of the same VA rating. Battery replaceability is a feature that often goes unnoticed until the warranty expires. Eaton designed this model with user-replaceable batteries, which means you can swap them out without sending the whole unit back to service. If you're the type who likes to keep hardware up to date, this is a real convenience. The downside, however, is that the batteries themselves are not cheap, and you'll need to budget for replacement every 35 years depending on how many cycles you run. The unit also offers an optional network card, turning the UPS into a managed device you can monitor over Ethernet. For anyone who wants to integrate power monitoring into a larger IT monitoring suite, say, pulling alerts into a Slack channel when the UPS is on battery, that option is worth the extra cost. If you're only protecting a single desktop, the network card is probably overkill. Now let's talk about the actual outlets and how they affect daily usability. The unit offers 7 outlets. 3 of them are always on, meaning they're fed directly from the mains even when the UPS is on battery, and 4 are battery-backed with automatic voltage regulation (AVR). This split is handy when you have equipment that doesn't need battery protection, like a lamp or a non-critical printer saved for the battery-backed slots. In my daily workflow, I kept the monitor and speakers on the battery-backed outlets, while leaving my router on an always-in socket so my network stayed alive even if the UPS ran out of juice. The only thing that tripped me up was the lack of USB-C charging ports, which are becoming common on newer UPS models for quick phone charging. If you rely on USB ports for your phone or tablet, you'll need a separate charger. From a practical standpoint, the UPS's AVR handling is modest but effective. During a test where I introduced a deliberate 10% voltage sag, the